Welcome back to Forget Me Not, where we explore the lives, legacies, and legends behind history's most iconic figures. I'm your host, Kiki, and today we're diving into the life of a woman who has long been mythologized, misrepresented, and even romanticized in popular culture. Her name was Amonute, but you may know her as Pocahontas, often dubbed the Indian Princess of America. But what's the real story behind this figure? Let's go back to the 17th century to the rivers and woodlands of what is now Virginia and explore the story of Pocahontas. Pocahontas was born around 1596 in the Powhatan Confederacy, a powerful network of Native American tribes led by her father, Chief Powhatan. Her birth name was actually Amonute, though she was also known as Matoaka. Pocahontas was a nickname meaning something close to playful one or mischievous girl, hinting at her lively spirit. In the Powhatan society, her father's status didn't automatically make her a princess in the way Europeans might think of it. The Powhatan people didn't operate under a hereditary monarchy. Their leadership was based on a complex system of alliances, respect, and community roles. So, while Pocahontas was certainly the daughter of a powerful leader, the title of princess would have been foreign to her people. The arrival of English settlers at Jamestown in 1607 marked the beginning of a complicated relationship between the Powhatan Confederacy and the newcomers. Pocahontas, perhaps around 11 years old at the time, became famous for her connection with Captain John Smith. The story goes that she saved his life, laying her head upon his to prevent her father from executing him. But here's where we need to separate myth from fact. Historians today believe that this story may have been a misunderstanding, or perhaps even embellished by Smith himself years later. It's possible that what he interpreted as a life-saving moment was part of a ritual or a symbolic gesture meant to display Powhatan's dominance over Smith and the settlers. This interaction, however, did mark the beginning of a relationship, where Pocahontas would play a bridging role between the two cultures. In 1610, Pocahontas married an Indian warrior named Kiki. A turning point in Pocahontas' life came in 1613 when Captain Samuel Argall, a recent arrival into Jamestown, plotted and succeeded in kidnapping Pocahontas. Her husband Kiki was killed by Pocahontas' captors, and her child was left to be raised by women in the village. During her captivity, Pocahontas became severely depressed. Her sister, Matoaka, and her husband were allowed to visit her on occasion, and Pocahontas confided in them about her mistreatment at the hands of her captors. During her captivity, Pocahontas was forced to wear English clothes, adopt the name Rebecca, and convert to Christianity. In 1614, when she was 18 years old, she met 29-year-old John Rolfe, an English tobacco planter, whom she later married. Their marriage has often been romanticized as a love story, but was likely a strategic alliance for both the English and the Powhatan. Chief Powhatan, however, did not attend the wedding ceremony out of fear of being kidnapped. Instead, he sent Pocahontas a pearl necklace as a gift. Their marriage did bring a brief period of peace between the settlers and the Powhatan people, often called the Peace of Pocahontas. Yet, it's essential to remember that Pocahontas' choice to marry Rolfe, as well as her conversion to Christianity, were deeply influenced by the circumstances and pressures surrounding her captivity. Eventually, Pocahontas gave birth to a son, who would later be named Thomas Rolfe. So why was Pocahontas called an Indian princess? This term was likely created by the English to make sense of her place in Powhatan society through a European lens. It's part of a broader pattern where Native American figures were often interpreted through Western titles and ideals. Her marriage to John Rolfe was portrayed as a civilizing influence, suggesting she was embracing English ways, thus aligning her with European concepts of royalty and hierarchy. This also set her up as a symbol for the success of colonization and conversion, serving as an ambassador for the New World when she was presented to English society. The Virginia Company of London, who owned the Jamestown colony, wanted to raise funds and recruit more settlers. They also wanted to show the English crown that there was goodwill between the natives and colonists, and that they could convert the Native Americans to Christianity. So, in 1616, the Virginia Company of London arranged for Pocahontas to set sail for England, with her son, a dozen Powhatans, and her husband, John Rolfe. There, Pocahontas was showcased to English high society as a symbol of the potential for harmony and civilization of native peoples. Pocahontas was used as a prop and paraded at balls, plays, and public events as a sort of success story of the English mission in the New World. She also attended a masque at the royal court, where she was presented to Queen Anne and King James I of England. Tragically, Pocahontas never returned to her homeland. In 1617, as she was preparing to return to Virginia, she dined with her husband John Rolfe and Captain Samuel Argall, the man who had abducted her from her people 5 years earlier. Shortly after, she became very ill and tragically passed away. It was reported by the Powhatans that had been travelling with her that Pocahontas was in perfect health before the meal, which led many people to believe that she was poisoned. Some historians disagree with this, however, and believe she died of pneumonia or tuberculosis. Despite her family requesting her body to be brought back to Virginia so Pocahontas could be laid to rest beside her people and the home that she loved, she was buried in Gravesend, England, in St. George's Church. Her son Thomas was left in England to be brought up by John Rolfe's relatives, whilst John Rolfe returned to his tobacco farm in Virginia. Pocahontas' life was short, but her legacy endured, shaped and reshaped by the stories told about her. The legend of Pocahontas as an Indian princess, with a love for John Smith and a heart open to civilization, served colonial interests and has persisted in popular culture from books to films. But in reality, Pocahontas was a complex figure caught between two worlds, her life influenced by the intense power struggles of her time. As we look back, it's essential to recognise her true role, not as a princess in the European sense, but as a symbol of resilience and adaptability in the face of immense challenges. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the real history of Pocahontas. I hope today's episode has given you a deeper perspective on her story and the legacy that followed. Remember, history is always more complicated than the myths we grow up with. Join me next week on Forget Me Not for another exploration into the past. Until then, I'm Kiki, and keep questioning what you think you know about history. Bye.